Now, this weekend, we'll see a huge celebration of the LGBT community, with Pride events expected to attract up to 1 million people to the streets of London. But some feel that Pride is not as diverse as it should be. Well, let's get more on this from Thomas MAgill, who is in Trafalgar Square. Thomas.
Well, Alice, for many people, this is their gay Christmas, because Pride in London is the largest, or one of the largest, one-day events here in the capital, attracting 1 million people onto the streets, with over 30,000 people involved in the parade through the centre of London. So a fabulous, colourful, vibrant day for all of them, but as you can imagine, a logistical challenge for the organisers. Now, if you're coming into central London tomorrow, it will mean some road closures and disruption. The event starts at midday at Great Portland Street. It moves down Regent Street, past Oxford Circus, Piccadilly, and then to here. The stage is being set as we speak. Hundreds of thousands of people will gather here for the main performance. But despite all that, some people within the LGBT community say that they still feel underrepresented by all of this, as I've been finding out. Disruption at the beginning of last year's Pride in London by the lesbian and feminist group Get the L Out. They're angry that trans women are attacking their lesbian rights. Lucia Blake is a trans woman, born a boy but identifies as a female. She moved to London after coming out, but now says the capital is becoming more unsafe for people like her.
I personally do not feel safe being alone, walking around in this city. And I'm so normalised to it now that I completely think it's normal. And then every now and then I have a moment where I'm like, oh my God, isn't it insane that my body's clenched up just going to my local shops?
She says part of the problem is trans people are largely underrepresented. And now she's organising the capital's first Trans Pride, her aim to create a safe space for the trans community. But some say this creates division within the wider LGBT family.
I'd say to those people to stop worrying and just let us have a day to focus on trans rights and how that is different to the LGBT community. It's a part of it, but it is different. And you know, if their event had more trans activists speaking at it and was safer for us, then maybe we wouldn't need it.
There is still more to be done.
Pride in London organisers disagree, saying they work hard to make everyone who identifies as LGBT included in the day. Trans Pride is just the latest event to be held for a specific group within the LGBT community. Another is UK Black Pride, and organisers there say the mainstream has a real challenge on its hands, meeting the demands of a very large and diverse group, and that's why more bespoke, smaller celebrations are becoming more popular.
We hear that a lot, that, you know, why don't you just join the normal Pride? Well, we do come to the normal Pride, actually. We do go to Trans Pride, we do go to Brighton Pride and Manchester Pride, but we also have UK Black Pride. And we also have very specific cultures that we want to celebrate as well, with people who look like us and think like us.
Today they're called gays, and they're coming out on the streets of London.
These diverse range of events is all very different from the 70s, when the modern LGBT movement was being formed and fought. Today the city is much more colourful too, as it prepares to welcome 1 million people to celebrate Pride in London, a clear sign for many of the progress that's been made. Well, plenty of colourful pictures ending that report, and with me now is Alison Camps, one of the co-chairs of Pride in London, responsible for some of those logistical challenges we mentioned earlier there, but also for the security at tomorrow's Pride. And many, Alison, will be asking what's being done in the last 12 months to prevent a repeat of the protests from last year.
Well, okay, so the first thing to say is that the protests which were against trans people last year were absolutely abhorrent. So planning to address anything that might happen in the future started literally the day after Pride in London last year and has continued through the year, working with the Metropolitan Police and with our partners in the Mayor's Office and also Westminster City Council and others. And security is our number one priority for everybody who comes to Pride in London. And security is not just about being safe, it's also about feeling safe. And we work very, very hard to create an environment which feels safe, which feels inclusive for everybody. And as I said, that is our number one priority.
And of course, there will be hundreds of thousands of people in London tomorrow, many coming for the very first time. What's your message to people coming to a capital that will look very different from many other days?
Well, this is a big year for us. It's the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall uprising. So obviously there's an element of celebration, and my message is come and enjoy yourself. Look out for each other. You know, drink lots of water. It's going to be warm, not as warm as last year, but it is going to be warm. Look out for each other, take care of each other. Take time to remember the sacrifices that people have made so that we can gather in central London and have the rights that we have here in the UK. Not everywhere in the UK, because Northern Ireland obviously doesn't enjoy equal marriage. But remember the struggles that have gone before and recommit yourself to continuing to fight the good fight.
Well, Alison, have a fabulous day, and there will be extra police on the streets here. This time tomorrow, there will be a sea of people enjoying Billy Porter on that stage tomorrow.
Thomas MAgill, thank you for that. And if you've ever been to Pride and wondered what all the flags mean, then you can find out more on our YouTube channel.